Hey, Sam.
Hi, Ed. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday morning. We have today for our National Coherence Creating Campaign webinar series, we have Mayor Ed Malloy, former Mayor Ed Malloy, who is going to be speaking to us about something quite extraordinary. We've been talking a lot in this webinar series about personal development and individual health, happiness, higher states of human development. But we're going to expand that today to something really wonderful, and that is community, even national development. What is possible in the community? And we have with us Ed Malloy. And Ed is the mayor of Fairfield, Iowa, was the mayor of Fairfield, Iowa from 2002 to 2020. Ed Malloy is a native of Glen Cove, New York, and Long Island, not far from where I grew up, Ed, in Rockville Center. In 1983, Ed moved with his wife, Vicki, to Fairfield, where they raised their daughter, Kelly. Mayor Malloy was CEO of Danaher Oil Company, a member of the Fairfield City Council from 1992 to 2000, a founding board member of Fairfield's Entrepreneurs Association in 1989, and a trustee of Maharishi International University from 2009 to the present. He was named one of the 15 greenest mayors in America. This is a town of 10,000 we're talking about, and he was voted one of the greenest, one of the 15 greenest mayors in America in 2009. The reason why we're talking about Fairfield, Iowa is because it's become known nationwide as one of the most entrepreneurial cities, small cities in America, with residents from over 50 countries in this small town in Southeast Iowa and 50 states. It's rich in diversity. It's considered a model for rural cities around the country due to its many achievements. And today we have Ed Malloy, and also the current mayor, Connie Boyer, is joining us, and will speak after Ed. So welcome, Ed Malloy.
Good morning, Sam. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. Good morning to Mayor Boyer as well. And it's a really great opportunity to kind of tell you a little bit about our community that is just really rich in the benefits of the practice of transcendental meditation. I began the practice over 40 years ago. I learned late in my college years, really enjoyed it, and was drawn here probably 6 or 7 years after the university had been formed. I was done with my post-secondary education at the time, but we really wanted to be around people of like mind and people practicing meditation together. And as you've probably explored through some of the research and testimony over the last webinars, that there is, a great enhanced level of creativity and dynamism that becomes part of you and your personality, and the expression of that is what we experienced here in Fairfield over the last several decades, because Fairfield is just a wonderful community. It's very typical in many ways of the charm of Midwest small towns. And it's been around for 181 years and has, a great tradition of higher education and business and manufacturing and entrepreneurship. But when people like myself started arriving here in the 1980s for our interest in the development of the university and the practice of meditation together, we all had to reinvent ourselves in some way as entrepreneurs to make a living. So that experiment led to the creation of hundreds of new companies, creating thousands of new jobs. And after several decades of that, the maturity of it is really something remarkable and something that we've been written about and reported on in journals around the country and around the world. So I'm going to go through a little bit of a PowerPoint here to hit some of the highlights of that. I'll invite Mayor Boyer to join in on any of this as well, or give her reflections and her vision for the future after that. But let's get started. Again, City of Fairfield, Iowa, we just went over 10,000 population in the last census estimate, which is the first time in many years. And since the 2010 US Census, we've grown by 9.5% in our population. And for a rural county, that's extraordinary. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that's been recognized. So let's on to our next. So, downtown Fairfield is really our hub. There's really, a lot of business, culture, and the arts that are evident there. And, as Sam had mentioned, the reason why people are so fascinated by what's happened in our community is that we've diversified our population, we've diversified our economy, we've really grown in ways that only rival what urban areas are going through in terms of their redefinition. And so we say that we're a small town with the attributes of a big city. We have a reputation for success and diversity. MIU is known throughout Iowa and the US as our biggest attraction, again, because of the concept of combining personal development through the practice of transcendental meditation, along with a high level of academic performance as well. So it attracts students from all over the world, 80 different countries. We have an outstanding faculty, and it's a big attraction. Business and entrepreneurship, arts and culture really abound here. We are known as a solar capital and a sustainability capital for Iowa, and again, rival many small communities around the country. And we also feature recreation, healthy living, good food. They're a part of our community fabric. Over the years, some of the recognitions we've received, we were named the most entrepreneurial city in America, under 10,000 population at the time, by the National Association of Towns and Townships, who were looking for communities that were really diversifying in that way to show that potential for other small towns around the country. We won that going away. 2004, Iowa invented the award, the most entrepreneurial city. We won the first award. We have a monthly event called the Fairfield Art Walk, or Fairfield First Fridays. It's held where we have galleries and businesses that host artists, and in our town square, it's been award-winning. We were named an Iowa Great Place because of all of the accomplishments and things that we have been doing. In 2007, Mother Earth News, that does an issue every year about the best places to live, did one called The Best Places to Live You've Never Heard of. Fairfield was named among those cities. We opened a arts and convention center, 35,000 square foot facility with a performing arts center that rivals a Broadway theater, and we're looking forward to post-COVID opening of that again. In 2009, we published our first 10-year Go Green plan. That was a comprehensive community-wide sustainability plan, and that's where a journalist checked in on what we were doing and ended up doing a story about mayors and recognized me as one of the greenest mayors in America, along with the mayors of San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Miami, all of these large cities. So we were named among them. And we've had some outstanding accomplishments. When we started rolling out that plan, we did a baseline measurement of our energy consumption. And over an 18-month period through different programs, we reduced our overall energy consumption by 8.5%. We completed a 16-mile loop trail, which is used for biking and walking, which is an outstanding amenity. In 2012, Oprah Winfrey visited Fairfield and did a 1-hour program. In 2013, Smithsonian Magazine, much like Mother Earth News, did a issue on the 10 best places to visit in America, 15,000 population, and we were number 7 on that list. And in 2014, we received a designation for work that we were doing in health and wellness called the Blue Zone. In 2015, BuzzFeed.com did a list one day and said, okay, America, summer's starting. Here are your top destinations to do a road trip. They did the top 11. We were number 2. So again, 2016, we opened a new outdoor pool and outdoor skate park. We opened up a new indoor sportsplex the following year. We completed downtown facade restoration in our beautiful downtown. And we are about to, mostly completed in 2019, about to finally complete this year, a new wastewater treatment plant and a 10-year comprehensive plan that Mayor Boyer will speak about. And as I mentioned, the US Census data. So what we also learned earlier this year that we were recognized again, unbeknownst to us. There was a study done by a think tank out of Arkansas called Heartland Forward, and they studied the economic impact of young firms creating new business activity all over the country. And they divided it into metropolitan areas and what they call micropolitan areas. Now, micropolitan is between 10,000 and 50,000 population. This is a map of the top 50, and we were number 35. And if you look at the map where we're kind of singled out there, you'll see that there's very little other activity in the Midwest. This was out of 550 identified micropolitan areas. So again, just an extraordinary recognition because of the entrepreneurs and the next generation of young entrepreneurs that are starting in our community. We celebrate arts and culture. As I mentioned, the First Fridays Art Walk is something we do on a monthly basis. It's really a downtown celebration of community. It's just a wonderful, wonderful event. We have professional art galleries throughout town, and as I mentioned, many of the businesses will set up as one as well. Let's see. This is an outdoor view of our Arts and Convention Center. So it takes up an entire city block. To the left, that structure is the theater, and to the right, there's a convention center. And you can see performances like the Russian ballet, Chinese international acrobats, and a Prince impersonator. We also have, wonderful festivals in our downtown that celebrate arts and music and culture as well. We're known as the entrepreneurial capital. As I mentioned, we were named most entrepreneurial city in America. We've raised over $250 million in venture capital has been invested. We have a downtown collab for business development. And we have diverse business sectors that are all successful: manufacturing, finance, e-commerce, software development, food brands, marketing, health and wellness, retail, entertainment, and restaurants. This is just one of the office buildings that houses probably about 10 or 15 different businesses just on the outskirts of town. And we have great amenities like our downtown Fairfield Public Library. Recreation, very important. We have many opportunities and a lot of people engaged in indoor and outdoor activity. MUM is a wonderful recreation center. There's a Cambridge Sportsplex, indoor and outdoor swimming pools. Very close to campus is Bonneyfield Lake, which at one time was a city water reservoir, but is now a recreational lake. Let's get back to that one. And then we have a new skate park. The 16-mile loop trail, as I mentioned. We have outdoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts. Some photos of our new Cambridge Sportplex indoor center and skate park. Our loop trail goes around the perimeter of the municipal boundaries, but fortunately touches a lot of really beautiful areas by some of our lakes and through native prairie and some wooded areas, really appreciated and used by our whole community. The area of sustainability that we've become very, prominent and well known for started with the university's program. Back in, I think, 2004, they began a major in sustainable living, and became a very popular major with students, attracted some great faculty to the program as well. So we really had a great resource here in the community, which is why in 2008, I saw the opportunity to bring all of that talent together along with our business community, our manufacturing community, and our educators to do a 10-year strategic plan. And the result of that is that, our community has become, much more energy efficient, committed to the transfer to more renewable sources of energy, along with the state of Iowa. Iowa produces 47% of its power by wind at this point, and the solar industry is growing dramatically. And a lot of that is done by 3 solar companies that were started here in Fairfield after the publishing of our Go Green plan. We have over 4 megawatts of solar energy in place right now. We've created over 100 jobs. MIU is producing about 45% of its power from solar at this point. The beautiful building that houses the Sustainable Living Program is a zero net energy building. And then we have great examples in the community. Abundance Eco Village is a private development just a little north of the city of about 20 different homes and buildings that are completely off the grid. So there are many people who really live that ethic in that way through their homes. This is a shot of the 1.1 megawatt solar array that powers the university. You can see the domes in the distance there. So it's just west of the campus. And this is a very special design where all of the rays track the sun. And then you'll see in the middle here, these are battery storage components. This is one of the first in Iowa, one of the few in the nation utilizing this battery storage. It's also being researched for its efficiency. Another campus building with solar, and then some other examples around the community of the use of photovoltaics. This was a brownfield development. It's a 0.5 megawatt of solar power that powers one of our local industries. I don't have a picture yet of one of our other manufacturers that has a little over 0.5 megawatt that is using a Tesla battery for storage to peak shave on their operation. And my favorite is probably the only retail in the world powered completely by solar of Taco John's. So this is on just outside of our business district. You'll see all the photovoltaics there in the distance. The Sustainable Living Center, as I'd mentioned, is a zero net energy building. It's built with, it's a LEED certification. It's also met the Green Building Challenge, which means it uses materials all from within a 250-mile radius of the facility. It's an extraordinary example and a great classroom for learning this knowledge. And then, as I mentioned as well, I'm sorry, we didn't mention the regenerative agriculture program also at the university that is really leading the way and kind of the next generation of opportunity for being more responsible to our soil and to our air. Abundance Eco Village, as I'd mentioned, some of the homes and buildings that you see there. This is a building called the Seed Center, where conferences are hosted and a lot of demonstrations of sustainable living practices are given. We have a very robust local foods opportunity through our farmers market and a collaboration of growers from around the community. And again, it's just like most places, a lot of fun. We have greenhouses in production that supply local produce as well. You've probably heard about the iconic Golden Domes. This is a local photographer who caught one of the domes after a rainstorm when the sun had kind of peeked through and hit the roof, and we had a little rainbow in there as well. But it's a extraordinary gathering place for the practice of group meditation. And we've had some pretty famous people in those doors. You'll recognize Jim Carrey, who was commencement speaker about 4 years ago to the students of Maharishi International University. His graduation speech was named one of the top 20 in the country that year. You can probably find it on YouTube. It's a hilarious but poignant speech that he gave. And of course, as I mentioned, Oprah Winfrey, who had recently become a practitioner of transcendental meditation, joined the ladies in the dome and had a great experience with her practice of personal meditation there as well. When we recently did an exercise to rebrand the city of Fairfield, we came up with a couple of taglines. One of them that we use for attracting tourists to our community and giving them a sense of what it is they'll experience when they're here, because this is what we're told, we chose tune into our vibe. So that's a quick run through of some of the things that make Fairfield, quite unique. It really is a great people place as well, because of that diversity that we mentioned, but also because people are very passionate about what it is that they can bring to the community. In my talks, many times I'll refer to Fairfield as a city of 1,000 passions, because there are so many things going on, so many opportunities, and we're a welcoming community for new ideas. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you very much, Ed. It's amazing to hear all of this. And by the way, before we move on, if you have any questions for Ed Malloy or for Mayor Boyer, please send them to questions@tm.org. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Questions@tm.org. Before we move on to Mayor Boyer, we do have a few questions that have come in, Ed. The first one, which is kind of several people were dancing around the same question here. The achievements are really extraordinary. We can imagine other mayors in Iowa or other towns of 10,000 talking about their achievements, and this is extraordinary. What you've accomplished. You were the mayor there for 18 years. And by the way, for those who didn't hear earlier, this is also the home of Maharishi International University. So the big question, Ed, is how did you do it? How can they do it in other cities? It's really, you've set a model there, and people are asking that question.
Yeah, we really, I understand it's extraordinary. And, I really give the credit to, again, all of the people who bring their creativity and their passions to a community like this. And then I think from a leadership standpoint, it's organizing to give that expression. So I know for myself, I like to go through planning processes where you get a diverse group of people together and you asset map your community to see, what it is that you have as far as, assets of all different kinds. And then you start to weave those into the planning process, creating a vision, and then you set a very structured set of goals and then share those goals with community organizations. And you have to have a long view, and you have to have serious commitments from people. And I think local leaders will probably say sometimes that's the biggest challenge. But if there is an inspiration and a community vision that people will commit to for a long period of time, then they will see results. I'm also, not shy to say that meditation is a part of that, because you get a different quality of energy and creativity and commitment sometimes from someone who is experiencing that kind of energy growth, within themselves personally. I've had, people just sort of pull me aside and say, okay, this all sounds great. Your planning explanation sounds great, but what's the secret sauce? So, and again, it really is. It really does come down to the quality of people that you have in your community. But it can be done anywhere. It really can, I believe.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Another question that's come in is the concept of, we've been talking on this series about the development of consciousness in the individual, but this starts to bring up a new concept of collective consciousness, that the calmness and the energy that one gets from their own personal meditation can kind of spill over into their behavior, into the family, into the environment. And that Fairfield, Iowa, may be a perfect model for this concept of the growth of collective consciousness, the growth of a community, the feeling in the town. When you had all of these, you were mentioning these national publications that were putting Fairfield, Iowa on the map as one of the best places to visit that you have to visit this year. You're thinking, okay, there's the sustainability and there's the economic activity and the bustling creativity. But the question that came in was about the feeling in the town, the friendliness of the town. This is especially relevant, Ed, right now, because we're living at a time, as we all know, where there's an added level of stress to the environment. Many people are actually choosing to move out of larger cities to find a place that they would feel less stressful, more comfortable. So I wonder if you could talk to that, Ed.
Yeah, sure. I think, let's go back to my last slide, tune in to our vibe. And that was kind of our tongue-in-cheek way of saying that, we're different and we embrace that different feeling that we have because, we have, folks that are, very traditional in their approach to living in life, and folks that are, very progressive in their ideas and really wanting to kind of test the boundaries. And you have to find a way to make that everyone's make that comfortable for everyone within the community. And I think it's just, again, just that expression of diversity with the common understanding that this is who we are, we embrace our identity, and we support each other in those particular areas is what you feel when you come to Fairfield. It's the way that people interrelate to each other. There also, is a really baseline respect for the entire tradition and history of the community as well. Its past, its connections to agriculture, the families that have been here for a long time. Those are all important to respect as well while you're inviting and introducing new people and new ideas into the community. But I think it does. The original question that you're asking is really how that has manifest, with people who practice meditation and having that spill out into the greater community. And I think that there's more of an open heart and open mind in terms of embracing a whole community structure that comes with that broadening of consciousness. So the individual broadens their consciousness, and then that allows for an openness to the entire community. And then I think everything gets sorted out and defined in terms of community, regardless of what part of the community it's coming from.
Great answer that. Thank you for that. In addition to Maharishi International University, Fairfield, Iowa, I would assume is the largest collection of people who practice transcendental meditation in one place every day. And that would have that nice softening effect as you were talking about. Well, thank you so much. I'd like to introduce our second speaker, Mayor Connie Boyer. Mayor Boyer, would you like to please turn on your video and audio? I have a feeling she's looking for that video button right now, as I have done many times. I will start by just introducing Mayor Boyer. Mayor Boyer Connie Boyer grew up in Fairfield, Iowa, and is a sixth generation Jefferson County resident. She graduated from the University of Wisconsin's Graduate School of Banking in 2000 and Financial Managers School in 2004. She currently works as a financial advisor with Edward Jones. Mayor Boyer served on the City Council from 2003 to 2007 and 2011 to 2013, with a second term serving as Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Boyer participated on the 10-year strategic plan, co-chaired the Go Green Commission in 2009, served on the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center Board for 10 years, is a member of the Rotary Club. How she has time for anything else, I don't know, but she also serves as the president 2 different times and is currently a member of the Fairfield Library Foundation Board and the Philanthropic Educational Organization. Mayor Boyer is the individual with all of this bustling creativity, growth of consciousness, economic development. This is who the people, the good people of Fairfield, Iowa, have chosen as their current mayor. So welcome, Mayor Boyer. Are you there? If you are, I think you have your mute button turned on. I think we'll give Mayor Boyer another minute or two. A couple of other questions have come in, Ed.
Sure.
And you could probably handle those as well. The first question is, are you recommending Fairfield as a retirement community, or is it really a place just for students? The question goes on, how are the medical facilities in the community? Is there a hospital, and are there specialists in very close range?
Yes, all important questions. You know, I came here, I was in my early 30s. So if you add the numbers, you can see that I'm getting close to retirement age as well. And there are many, many friends who are in the same age category. So yes, we are very much a retirement community as well, and encouraging that. You know, we understand that the sustainability of a community and of a city is going to be based on younger people committing and staying to your community, in your community, and the succession that you need. But you know, our actual population is fairly well balanced through all of the different age groups. But because there was about a 15-year period where folks were coming to Fairfield in the 80s and through the mid 90s, we sort of double up on the, I would say, 55 to 70 age category, as opposed to some of the others. So we have a little bit of a bubble at the high end, but there are more people moving here who are of retirement age. And again, it's because of their long affiliation with Transcendental Meditation and the university. So they are planning to spend their later years here. We have, you know, good facilities for assisted living and nursing homes. We have we have a small regional hospital. We have for, you know, many, many years, but actually there was a new building built about 8 or 9 years ago, maybe even less than that. That's a beautiful facility. I think there are a dozen beds, but there is a clinic service where there are, you know, many general practitioner doctors, but we also cycle through about 50 specialists from some of the best hospitals in Iowa. So you always have access right in our town to great healthcare. And then, you know, through the university, there's been the development also of complementary and alternative medicine practices in Ayurveda, which is a preventative healthcare system. So there are clinics that specialize in that. There are many chiropractors, many yoga teachers, many all kinds of alternative health practitioners that are here as well. So yeah, it's very good. There's also, as I mentioned, we could even spend more time on that, the kind of focus that the community has on health and wellness as well. So you can be well taken care of here. And one of the top hospitals in the entire country at the University of Iowa is just 60 miles north of us. So I would say yes to both questions. We do welcome retirees, and there is a good healthcare system. Was there another subject in there, Sam? I can't remember.
Well, I think another question that had come in was, what are the costs to live in Fairfield? I think we have intrigued some of the people who've been watching this, who are considering this as a new location for their family. What are the costs to live in Fairfield for homing, for buying a home, for renting? What do salaries look like in the business enterprise, the nearest airport, that kind of thing? Is it easy for business travel?
Sure. Yeah. So let's start with housing. With housing, it's quite affordable. I think our average home price is somewhere in the $150,000 to $175,000 range. I think the complete range is you can buy a house for as little as $90,000, which is probably a fixer-upper, and there are many custom homes that will sell for, say, $250,000 to $400,000. The cost of building a new custom home is probably somewhere in the $150 to $175 a square foot. Yeah. I'm sorry, $1.50 to $1.75 per square foot. Rents run anywhere from, I'd say, $350 to $750. Homes are rented from $700 to $1,400. So it's quite affordable. With all of the entrepreneurial companies and the traditional manufacturing businesses and retail, there are a lot of jobs in Fairfield, but there's a lot of people living here and a lot of competition for the jobs as well. There's always new job creation. So if you are serious about coming to the community, I think it's good to plan an extended visit where you can knock on doors or really get a sense of what is available here. We are, a city of 10,000, so we're going to have some limitations in terms of the number of jobs available that you might find in a bigger city. But again, depending on your skill set, there are jobs available.
Well, that's great. I wanted to, first of all, Jess, our engineer, I wanted to make sure that there is a Connie Boyer, who I think you may have made a panelist, who has told us she's not that Mayor Connie Boyer. So if you can see if there's another Connie Boyer who's one of our panelists, and then who is on our list, and then you can make her a panelist. Thanks, Jess. Again, if you have any questions, you can send them to questions@tm.org, and we'll try to get them in.
I'll mention also, Sam, about Mayor Boyer. You read off a list of some of the things that she has been involved in, and really, Connie has been a great contributor to the community in so many different ways, and participated in a lot of the visioning that we did, and is a real hands-on person in terms of getting a lot of these things accomplished, like our Arts and Convention Center and our Go Green plan. So it was really, leadership that she showed, within the community that naturally evolved into her, taking this position. So we've had a great transference, and having been a part of everything that's been done over the last couple of decades. So we're very fortunate to have her leadership.
Wonderful. I wanted to revisit this one area we spoke briefly about, Ed, and that is the amenities of a town vary anything from, you mentioned recreational facilities and hospitals and sustainability. You talked about creating these trails that just make it a very livable community. Art walk, and went on and on and on. But there's something that Fairfield, Iowa has that nobody else has, and I think it's very relevant today, and in terms of contributing to the collective consciousness of the community. And that is these golden domes, where we have hundreds and sometimes even thousands of people practicing their meditation together. What's it like? You've lived in other towns before. What's it like living in a community where you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every day, stopping work at 5 or 6 o'clock, going into this dome, having a deep meditation experience, and then coming out. How does that affect the community as a whole?
Well, it's a fun question to reflect on because, again, I think everyone who practices TM has their own kind of intimate feeling about, what it does to them internally and how it kind of transforms into, just this wonderful, expansive sense of who they are, and then also a calm and a peace within, but also, an energy and a creativity that really wants to be expressed. And because you've either through conversation or, really shared experiences, that you understand that everyone is having some level of that same experience. And it's a very powerful experience when you come together to practice that in the domes and meditate together. First of all, that intimate personal experience is magnified. And it's magnified in a way that is
Ed, I think we may have lost you. Jesse?
appreciation. So that deep level of appreciation that you have personally is something that you share with everyone else. So you go about your life and your business and all of the different facets, and that there is something very powerful, a very powerful bond that you all share. It's something you can't get anywhere else. Just simply, you cannot. So we know that, we understand that. So we cherish it, we protect it. We want to invite more people to be a part of that, because we know only good things are going to happen if we grow that number and grow more people. Now, the folks in town who don't practice meditation, I'm going to say you get asked this question a lot, how many people in the city actually practice meditation? It's probably somewhere in the 25 to 30% range. So there are lots of folks who don't. But because, there's a passionate commitment from everyone, whether you love it because it's your family history, or you love it because you have this common experience with other meditators, you love it. So there's a baseline, again, feeling that everyone shares, that we love living where we live, and we know couldn't get that experience anywhere else. So we want to make it as fun, we want to make it as cool, we want to make it as relevant, we want to make it as as open as possible. So all of those amenities and all of that planning and all of those things come because of our passionate commitment to the community and each other.
Beautiful. So, and you mentioned, Ed, that your own personal experience of meditation changes when you go into that dome and you meditate with several hundred people at one time. Is that correct?
Yes, you do. Yeah, and again, it is a wonderful experience. It's the same as you do at home, where you sit quietly and close your eyes. And but again, when you're doing it with hundreds of other people, there's a magnification of that transcending experience and that silence that you experience at those points, and then coming out, that same level of freshness and clarity and purpose are also magnified.
It's wonderful. And, one thing we haven't mentioned is there's also a school there. Maharishi International University has a lower and an upper school as well, and which I understand has been very popular and hugely award-winning schools. the kids who grow up in a community of people like this, whether you're meditating or not, just totally supportive, less stress, that they start to function better as a family. Has that been your experience?
Yes, it has. Yeah, we put our children through the Maharishi School, which is a K through 12. Again, children learn as early as 4 years old. So through pre-K and kindergarten, there are children who are practicing a very simple technique of meditation. And then at 10 years old, they're getting a sitting technique like an adult would. And they practice it twice a day in the school. And a lot of what they learn is related to their own experience of understanding that the mind at different levels as it transcends is experiencing different levels of its own nature. So the education system is geared towards the understanding about how every discipline is really connected to your own inner nature and the nature universally. So that's something that has a great impact on the learning process. I think there's a confidence in what you're learning. There's a depth to what you're learning, but there's a simplicity to what you're learning as well. And children in that environment really blossom. They really grow in that regard. So the school is quite small, and it's about 220 to 250 students at this time. It's been as high as about 800 students, but the academic performance, along with the creativity performance for all of the participants in the school, has really been off the charts. The academic awards that are won, the championships in sports and in all kinds of different competitions is really strong. So it's a great education system. At the university level, obviously the university is going to be 50 years old in a few years. So there's been a real sustainability to that and form of education. And we find that there are students who are really looking for more out of their education and are gravitate towards this concept of combining your own personal development with that great academic success. And it is, again, extraordinary the transformation that students go through in a 4-year period of time. It is really what keeps us going and is really the base inspiration for our whole community.
That's great. And, we actually haven't talked about the university very much. Is it a traditional university? It has traditional disciplines and majors, graduate schools. If you could talk about that just a minute.
Sure. Yes, it was founded in 1971, and it was founded in Santa Barbara, California. There were temporary headquarters there for for the student programs. And then in 1973, they were looking, as it was growing, they were looking for a campus, and the campus here was at one time a private liberal arts college called Parsons College. It was here for 98 years. And they had some issues in the early 70s and went into bankruptcy. So the campus was for sale. It was bought, opened in 1974. By 1979, we received our accreditation from the Midwest accrediting body for all academic institutions, and has since grown with master's programs and PhD programs. The accreditation is reviewed every 10 years, and we just underwent a 10-year review and have passed with flying colors. Again, it's greatly recognized for both its academics and for its uniqueness of really developing the full potential of the student.
That's great. A couple of practical questions have come in. People are interested in what has the record of COVID been in Fairfield, Iowa? People, and let me interrupt just to say, people are thinking, I've had a few questions, people are thinking about making a trip there. Would this be a good time to visit? Or are we encouraging people to wait a little while? And what has the record been for COVID there?
So the record has been fortunately very good for us. Iowa as a state hasn't really had the best reputation, as a lot of the people watching this probably know. We've had, but Fairfield, fortunately, in terms of community spread, I was just looking at the numbers on Friday. I will look at to see how many cases and what the percentages are, that type of thing. So since mid-March, when the numbers started being kept, Fairfield has had 137 positive cases. There are probably anywhere between 6 and a dozen active cases at any one time. There's only been one death in the community. That's one too many, but it is a low number. And the number of cases per thousand is 7.5, which is the lowest in the entire state. There are 99 counties, and the statistics that I look at measure the case rate per county. We're at 7.5, where it's simply the lowest number in the state. So we've not had a lot of community spread, which has been a good thing. We've not had a lot of hospitalizations or serious cases, but again, Iowa, different places has. So, and I don't think that there's enough testing availability at this point anywhere. Iowa has some free testing, but you have to travel for it. So I think the safest way to come here would either be to test before you come or plan to test when you get here. But I would say people are welcome, yes. And they would not be coming into a hot zone at all.
That's a great relief, and congratulations to yourself, Mayor Boyer, and everyone who's made that happen. That's a great relief to a lot of people around the country who are living with a great deal of fear and stress right now in their own communities, and it's very unfortunate. Another practical question came up. Someone who was interested in visiting, they were wondering that once the COVID situation starts to calm down, are people who practice transcendental meditation, are they welcome into these beautiful golden domes to meditate there and join the group there?
Yes, we all miss the golden domes. It's really the campus under the leadership of President John Hagelin has really, from the very beginning, taken the safest precautions on campus. The campus, the last time I checked, as far as students, faculty, and administrators, there have been no cases of COVID. There have been some cases with some of the work staff early on. I'm not sure where that is right now, but in terms of the day-to-day safety for students, it's been extraordinary on the campus. And one of those precautions was closing down the domes until this passes.
Well, that'll be something we'll all look forward to, getting back into those domes and welcoming everyone to come and visit.
Yes.
That's great. Another person had sent in a question, Ed. Where do you see the town in 10 years, the development and kind of a forecast? If someone is thinking to move there, business opportunities, growth of the economy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, frankly, I mean, I think that we're in our stride right now. We know who we are, we know what our potential is, and we have, we are very attractive to young businesses starting here. I think you'll see that, when you visit. And I think that's going to continue. We want to encourage that. I don't think that this option exists many other places in terms of the type of community that we have and the intention that we have to be healthy, to be spiritually developed, to be respectful, to be diverse. And so I think that we have a great track record, and I think we have a lot to build on. So I think this is going to continue, and I look forward to seeing the results over the next 10 years.
That's great. And you had mentioned that there seems to be an influx of younger people and more entrepreneurial people of younger generations who are coming in now as well, kind of a growth in that area. Is that correct?
Yes, we see it, but again, that slide I showed early, where from the outside we were told that demographically we are number 35 out of 550 micropolitans in terms of young, new entrepreneur startup businesses. So that's really quite something. And again, that micropolitan population range is 10,000 to 50,000. We're at the low end of the population of that. So I think if you scaled it, we're probably in the top 5 or 10.
It's
Be my guess
amazing.
on a
It's
per
not a,
capita basis.
a
Yeah,
town- yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was to say I called up one of the researchers after it was published, and he said, "Oh yeah," I said, "we want to do a follow-up story on you guys. You guys were just very different because." Some of the other areas of success were around, say, boom shale oil towns or boom vacation spots, that type of thing. So really, for a city in the middle of nowhere, we definitely hold that ground uniquely.
Yeah, that's really still amazing. If you have any questions, please send them to questions@tm.org. We just have a couple of more minutes. And another question had come in. If people are interested in moving their business there, what are the opportunities? If some people have businesses where they're employing quite a few people and they're looking for a less stressful, a safe place, a place where their families can grow. Do you think Fairfield, Iowa, with all of these amenities would be a good choice, and why?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a partnership between our city and our state. If if the business is really big enough, and it's a matter of economic incentives that will attract them to be a part of our community. It's what our labor force is, and um, I think we have good things in all of those areas. Uh, and we have a strong economic development association that is headed by an MIU graduate that will help facilitate that process for someone. So if there is interest, it's the Fairfield Economic Development Association, Josh Larrabee, who would work someone through that. But, one of the things that we're discovering with the COVID-19 restrictions around the country and people working from home, and the stock in Zoom going up 250%, is that working virtually, which has been going on in Fairfield for 2 decades, is something that is probably going to continue. Fortunately, two of the entrepreneurial companies that have grown here, who started back in the 90s, have been cutting edge in terms of broadband access. So Fairfield has always had what is the most available technology for for broadband. We have had fiber optic cable to our business development park in downtown and homes for about 10 years now. So we are really set up in that regard with that infrastructure. All of the amenities, I think it make it an easy place to move to. And Iowa generally has a very good, strong work ethic and educated workforce.
That's wonderful. I guess as a last kind of question here, someone had sent in asking about, you mentioned that it's a very diverse population, and she asked if you could repeat, if you know the number of how many different nationalities are in this town of 10,000 people, and
Yeah.
how they get all along so well.
It starts with the university. The university, because TM is taught all over the world, the university averages students from 80 different countries. And that really spans the globe, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, just really throughout the world. And so what's happened over the years is that many of those people, because of their commitment to their personal practice of TM, look to stay within the community. So we get a lot of MIU graduates that stay in our community. but also we've attracted people to the Golden Domes and to the community itself, just from around the world. And as far as the percentage of numbers, it's not necessarily a big percentage in those terms. But but again, there are people from 50 different countries that are in the workforce. So there are all races and all mixes within the town. One of the celebrations that we have, we have an international cultural celebration where that is appreciated by everyone. And in the most recent challenges that that the country has faced with Black Lives Matter and the incidences that have led to that, we definitely have taken a closer look at as a community at that as well. I know that Mayor Boyer and the police chief and the city council are focused on reforms within our own police department. So that is something that, again, because of the diversity that we have in our community, we understand how important that is. But the whole essence of the practice of meditation and what it develops in someone is something that is really sanctifying to life, and it protects life. So there's an instinct there that I think we all share and appreciate among each other. So I think we're all looking out for each other as well.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Ed, if someone is interested in learning more about moving to Fairfield or just getting more information about the community, what should they do?
Well, I would say, the City of Fairfield website, which is cityoffairfieldiowa.com, would be a place to start. The other would be the Fairfield Economic Development Association, the Fairfield Chamber of Commerce. And again, I don't have those exact emails in front of me, but those can be discovered or found on the other websites. But just engage or pick up the phone and call the city, or call our Chamber of Commerce, or call our Economic Development Association, and there will be somebody on the other line to help you.
Wonderful. We've been speaking with Ed Malloy, the former mayor of Fairfield, Iowa, the home of Maharishi International University, where they have the largest group of people practicing transcendental meditation together in the world, and talking about all of the extraordinary achievements of this city and the university. Thank you so much for all. I've been just shooting questions at you, and you were handling them. I mean, this is what happens 18 years as a mayor, and speaking about it, you were just absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, and thanks everyone for joining us. Next week, we have on October 3rd, we have at 11 a.m. Central Time, Jonathan Lippman and Susan Lauer will be speaking on yoga for the home, how a home, your actual physical home structure, can support and enlighten life through Maharishi Vedic architecture. And on Sunday, the next day, October 4th at 11 a.m. Central Time, Bobby Roth will have 3 of his project leaders, this is from the David Lynch Foundation, speaking about their projects on transforming lives from the inside out. Again, thank you so much, Ed Malloy.
My pleasure, Sam. Thank you.
Extraordinary achievements and many years of service to this community.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Bye.